In this video, we'll cover the topic of effectively managing lead flow. Designing a productive lead management system is imperative for any franchisor. To be able to quickly categorize and then follow up and further qualify leads in an effort to separate those candidates who possess the ability to invest in your business and operate it successfully versus those that can't is really critical to any franchise company's long-term success. So it all starts with a well-designed process and then a system in place to be able to manage that process and be sure that it's being executed consistently. So we'll walk through a couple of real-world scenarios, but let's first make a couple of assumptions. And that is, one, you have currently some type of lead generation process in place, whether it's a Google AdWords campaign or your website or some various advertising or any of a number of things that you're doing to collect information from people who may be interested in your opportunity. That's assumption one. The second assumption is that you've got someone on the other end of that who is tasked with the responsibility of following up with these leads to further qualify them. So we'll make those two assumptions, and let's look at a couple of scenarios here on how we can potentially design a better process and more effectively manage what we're doing. Okay, so here we have your standard lead generation form, like any good franchisor has somewhere on their website. We have thought through some of the questions that we're asking and the answers that we are allowing people to choose, and that will come into play shortly. But let's go ahead and fill this out as if we were a prospective franchise candidate and see what happens. Okay, so here you'll see the completed form. We have answered each question and given some contact information, as well as answered a few questions about the level of investment that we're able to make, our familiarity with franchising and our relevant business experience, as well as where we're looking to operate the franchise and what our time frame is. So let's go ahead and submit the form. Within Salesforce, we've set up lead routing rules and auto response rules. The lead routing rules dictate what happens to each lead as it enters the system. The auto response rules tell the system what email to send to the prospect after they've completed the form. In our system, we have a lead qualification specialist. His name's John. John's role is to follow up with each qualified lead as it enters the system to further interview that person and qualify them. So what we want to do is set up the system to where every qualified lead that comes in gets routed to John, and leads that aren't qualified get routed to another person in the company. There's also an appropriate email message that gets sent to the prospect directly after they submit the form. This all happens automatically. We've also created a workflow rule to really help expedite this process and bring all new leads up to the surface really quickly. So we created the rule that said anytime a new lead is created for John, that we want to assign a task to him called follow up new lead, as you'll see here, so that each day when John signs into his Salesforce account, he'll quickly under my tasks be able to see every new lead that he needs to follow up with. We give each task a due date of 1 day after it's created, because here we expect each qualified lead to be followed up with within 24 hours, if not sooner. So as John logs into his Salesforce account, he quickly sees that he's got a new lead to follow up with named Bill Smith. If he clicks on Bill Smith, he'll get to the lead record and be able to see more information about Bill, including where he is and how he answered the questions on the website form. He can also see the email that was sent to Bill and check to see if Bill's opened that email yet or not. We'll also be able to see lead source details, which tell us how Bill came to find out a little bit about us and how he got to the form. So after John follows up with Bill and goes through the qualification process with him, he can come back to the screen, click on his task called Follow Up New Lead, edit that task, and let us know that it's been completed, and then make a couple of notes in here. And you can save that task as completed. Another great feature of this system is the dashboard. We've created a customized franchise leads dashboard so we can log in very quickly and get a graphical picture of how our lead management system is flowing. from an understanding of the number of leads that we're creating per week, per month, or per quarter. We can track those against numbers from the previous year. We can look at trailing numbers. We can track leads by state, or we can get a better understanding of which of our campaigns is providing us with the most qualified leads. It's also important for us to understand our productivity levels. Having a well-designed process is the first step, but having a system to be able to manage that process is just as important. So in our example, we know that anytime we get a qualified lead that comes into our system, we route that lead to John, and within 24 hours, John is going to make a follow-up phone call to further qualify that person and speak with them. So for us to get a better understanding of, are those calls being made, is the system or the process being executed consistently, is very important in helping us make better informed decisions. So by having an automated system of routing leads, creating tasks and workflow rules, we're able to very quickly track this data. We can even drill into this dashboard and see, we know that there's one overdue call. If I had a team of people, I could log in and see that, okay, this is John, had a follow-up new lead phone call that was due a few days ago. It's overdue. I can drill into the task to see if there's been any comments made or any progress at all. It allows me to better manage the system by having granular level data like this. And it's important to note that this is all customizable, from our lead routing rules and assignment rules to workflow rules to the dashboard. Everything is customizable with just a few clicks of the mouse.